Well, good morning everybody, this is DearMamaSal, and I was just looking at my console here between my two seats, whatever you call this area. I know there's a right word and I can't think of it. And I was thinking it probably isn't the greatest idea to have my money exposed like that, so here's my foot. That just looks like it's clean. I'm going to put a couple of them so it's rigid. I want to tell you something. It's a really interesting day. It's 3 degrees here in southern British Columbia in Canada, which would make it, I think, 37 in American. So get your swimsuits ready. We're getting quite balmy here. And that's not balmy as in the English word balmy. In England, balmy means, well, maybe that's true too. And let me not fight that one too much. The sky is unbelievable. I'm going to show you in a second, but the sky is an unbelievable color. There are people using my road. Like, hello. You are not meant to be using my road when I need it. Thank you. That works. Anyway, the sky in front of me is really dark, like thundery dark. And yet the sun here, which means somewhere behind me, I guess, could have a rainbow. That would be very pretty, but I'm not going to take my eyes off the road to look for it. But against this dark sky, I would imagine that would look quite something. So how are you all doing today? There's this part of me that wants to say, gee, you're looking good. And I can see some of you going, what? Those words cannot help but make you smile in some way. You know, it's funny, isn't it, how the smallest things can sort of trigger you to smile or can trigger you negatively. It's a really amazing sort of reality, just how small those things can be. One word can trip you in a negative way, and one word can turn you around. When you look at life, and when you can understand that, it also helps you deal with it better. In other words, just because you got triggered negatively doesn't mean you have to stay there all day. You just, if you like, need to put some positive stuff on the balance. That's how I sort of look at it. I've tried to think of it, which is, as soon as I get negatively triggered, and you know, I have to admit that I do. You know, I'm not a perfect person by any measure of means. But when I do, I really do try to find the balance point. In other words, if I'm feeling sad, what do I need to do, see, watch, you know, hear to make me grateful? I want to tell you, the grateful is a magical balancing thing. I have found so many times that when I'm in a funk of some sort, turning around and working out what I'm grateful for really sort of sorts me out. And it's amazing how little it takes. I was talking yesterday with a colleague at work about how long did she think it would take for us to train somebody to do my job. Well, that sort of set off some panic buttons. It was interesting because what I said was I think it's time I started to have that conversation. And the question is, not sort of, am I going to be retiring in the next couple of months? No, it's not that. It's just I need to sort of get into my mind that if I plan to retire by X, I need to be training somebody by this point, and then I also need, we need to be interviewing people from this point. So it's a really important thing. And I'm beginning to be grateful for the fact that I have, been able to do what I've been able to do for as long as I have. And I think those of you who are young now, you need to know by the time you get to my age, I don't know what the retirement age will be, 80? Because our longevity will have, increased so much. Probably not in a lifetime, so let me think. I would think probably 70. So I would really urge you to consider that. Oh, saw the rainbow. How about that? I don't think you'll see it, but I'll try. I just don't think that... I don't know if you can see it, but it's there. So, thank you, God. So it was quite a major step for me to even start talking about it. It's the first time I've ever mentioned it at work. So obviously, at some level, my body is telling me it's time to start discussing it and working towards it. Now, I have a really large concern about it. Only because once I retire, I will not be able to refinance my house because, they're not going to be interested in refinancing somebody who's retired. It's not that you lose your mortgage, you just can't use your property as to refinance. So I got a pretty good deal at the moment, but the question is, next time I refinance, how good a deal will it be? And that's the other thing I need to have a look at. When is it due? Not refinance, but the next time it's due for renewal, what will the rate be? So none of this is negative. This is all stuff that's time to start planning. When I say it's time to start planning, probably the time to start planning would be at whatever age you are right now. If I've been disciplined about putting 10% away every single pay period from my 20s onwards and not touching it, I'd probably be a multi-millionaire today. I'd probably, but really when you think about it. So, the joy of compound interest. It is really quite logical, because we all knew that. And I guess a lot of you did it, and I didn't. I was so busy being an entrepreneur, trying not to pay taxes too much. I pay taxes, but you understand, you're always looking to write things off, and which you're perfectly entitled to do. But I never really spent the same amount of time looking after my future. So here's the thing, part of the reason why I wanted to talk about this is, I was talking to Ange in Vegas yesterday on WhatsApp. We were busy messaging each other, and I said to her, I know that she's planning to go to the gym. And I also know that Ange does really well with a buddy when she's doing things, because, you know, she and I have been doing our slob watch thing since July. And we still talk in terms of the numbers, you know, it's really... it's really exciting when you can talk to somebody and know that, oh, hang on a second, she's just done more steps than I have. I better get up and do something. And if you think, you know, have I lost a huge amount of weight? No. But here's the difference. You know, I started off averaging probably, although I'm very embarrassed to talk about it, sort of 2,000 to 3,000 steps a day. I am now doing 5,000 to 6,000. So that's, you know, it's a pretty healthy increase. So what I said to Ange was that I know you're about to go back to the gym, so wash your fluid. So I said, I know you're about to go back to the gym, so I guess it's time for me to tell you that if you go to the gym, then I will either go for a walk or get on my turtle gym. Which was a very stupid comment, if I might say so. Because I keep my commitments, so... It's part of me that regrets that already. But... how did you do after Christmas, everybody? That would be my question. How much weight did you put on over Christmas? I was actually quite surprised. I put on, I thought, about 5 pounds. Okay, I am so sorry about this. I've got a bozo situation here, which is I managed to come up this road just at the time when all the school children are being dropped off. Peace. That normally doesn't happen to me. But for some reason, one that I haven't quite managed to work out, all the drivers seem to think it's perfectly okay to just stop in the middle of a major road and drop off your children. Yep. I don't want to tell you what I think about that, but you can probably imagine. So my point was that I put on quite a bit of weight over Christmas because I ate badly, which I did. But what surprised me is I am right back down to, I think, where I started, just about, already. And it's only the, what, 5th? No, 6th. With about 72 days to go to spring. Yay! So, that's not very many days, is it? Really, when you think about it. So here's the thing. If I've managed to get back down to my fighting weight in just 1 week into the new year, if I actually put in a bit of effort, I could probably lose a fair chunk this year. Now, I do realize that I cannot afford to do a patch, and that's what it's called now, doing a patch. Patch we love you so much for for volunteering to become the Queen of Excuses, which was incredible. Because we all refer to you now, and we all love you for actually owning that title. Because it gives us a benchmark against which we can judge ourselves. I think your story about sitting in your sewing room for 2 hours trying to find all the excuses you could not to clean it, and then cleaning it, was just amazing. I wish I'd been a fly on the wall listening to what you were saying to yourself, and perhaps one day you will share that with us. But you know, we all do the same thing about different things. So I'm glad I started the 10-minute challenge again, because I must admit that I am very grateful at the moment for how clean the front of my car looks. Both sides. What I'm looking at now is really quite clean. I mean, I would not be embarrassed to let somebody come into my car, which I normally am. Now all I've got to do is to work on the back, which is doable. I had some really good news, really good news yesterday. I don't know if you know, but I actually help people with med school interviews, and I had one particular student who was a challenge. I must admit, he was a challenge to get in, but he got in the second time. And then he really struggled with anxiety. And the great thing was that I got an email from him, and he's contacted me, during the months and years to let me know his progress. And I got an email from him yesterday saying that he's now in his 4th year. Wow. And I want to tell you something. He had every reason to not make it through to 4th year in terms of coping with the stress and everything else. And I'm so proud of him, so very proud of him. But now I'm going to get to see him this weekend and get a chance to help him with some interview techniques, because now he's going to be interviewing for a job when he finishes all his studies. But the good news is that I'm so proud of him, because here's a person who has fought the odds, and as long as he makes it through this year, and won. And I really admire people who just don't quit. I mean, they think they're going to quit. And then I have to really be very grateful that every time he was ready to quit, he contacted me. And I would listen to all his excuses, and I would listen to all his pity party and everything else that he needed me to listen to. I do that very nicely. I'm quite good at that. But then, I'd ask him one question. Yeah, do you still want to be a doctor? Well, yes, but no buts. Do you still want to be a doctor? Because if the answer is yes, you need to get hold of yourself, grow a pair, and move on. You cannot afford to sit in this negative state, otherwise you won't make it to be a doctor. And it was just amazing, because I'm certain there are times he got really angry with me, which is great, because sometimes that's what you need. Sometimes you need to get angry. And sometimes you need to get angry with yourself. And so, here we go. I'm going to be grateful for the fact that I am as healthy as I am. I'm going to be grateful for the fact that I am only the weight that I am. I could be a lot worse. But I am going to now, really start doing a little bit more about looking after my health and welfare. A bit late, but better late than never.